Hey Algebra 1 students, this is the third video for section 7.5 and 7.6, and we are in the note packet on page 27. So on this one, this is the, I'm going to erase this circle. Give me a second here. There we go. That is the trinomial, three terms in standard form because the biggest exponent is first and then the next biggest exponent. We want to check to make sure we're in standard form. And then remember, the a is the coefficient of the squared variable. The b is the coefficient of the variable with the first power. And the c is the constant term or the plain old number that hangs off the end. So your first step is to find your a, b, and c. So our a is 9, our b is 9, and our c is 2. Then we complete our x. At the top of our x goes our a times c. A times c is 9 times 2, and so I get an 18. The bottom of my x, I just put my b, and my b is 9. So there we go. Okay, now remember, I am looking for two numbers that I have to figure out what they are, and they go here, and they are numbers that multiply to give me 18. So those would be factors of 18. So I want to list my factors of 18 and then figure out which of these two factors will add or subtract to get me a 9. So my factors of 18 are 1 and 18. I know that one for sure. If you don't know the others, you want to go to your calculator or go to your multiplication chart. So I'm wondering if 2 is a factor. So I'm going to do 18 divided by 2, and I get 9. If I get a nice whole number like that, then I know that's a factor. So 2 times 9 is a factor of 18. Now I'm wondering about 3. So I'm going to try 18 divided by 3. I get another whole number. So 3 times 6 is 18. And if you needed to convince yourself, just do 3 times 6. Oh, that's 18. Do 2 times 9. Oh, that's 18. Okay, now I'm going to check 4. 18 divided by 4. I get a decimal, so that is not a factor I want to include. I just want whole numbers. I'm going to try 18 divided by 5. Again, I get a decimal. I'm going to try 18 divided by 6. 6 times 3. Oh, I already have that. If you already have it, then you know you're done. Okay, now I want to figure out which of these factors, 18 times 1, 2 times 9, or 3 times 6, add or subtract to get me 9. I already know they multiply to get me 18. So let's think. 18 plus 1 is 19, and 18 minus 1 is 17. So those do not add or subtract to get me 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. 9 minus 2 is 7. That does not get me add or subtract to get me a 9. So it must be these, which this does work because 6 plus 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. So those are the ones I want, 6 and 3. Now, these are numbers I'm going to use again, so I want you to circle those. So you do your x, find factors of 18, so two numbers that multiply to give you the number on the top, and add or subtract to get you the number on the bottom. So 6 and 3, I found those. Now, what goes in the box? Well, if you remember back in, let's see, let's go all the way back to one of these box problems. Back in section 7.2, I think this was, when we were multiplying, let's do this right, binomials. What we were finding was the inside. So we multiplied everything and we got the inside. So this was our answer, right? X squared plus 5x plus 6. So what I want to put in the box is this trinomial. And then our job is to find the outside of the box. Now if I want to put this in the box, maybe I would put 9w squared here, and 9w here, and 2 here. I have an extra box. So that doesn't work. I have 4 spaces in my box, but only 3 terms. Well, that's where the 6 and 3 come in. If you notice, 6 plus 3 is 9W. So instead of writing 9W, I'm going to write 3W and 6W. So let's start this though. This first term is always going to go in this first box here. And this constant term that hangs off the end is always going to go down here. I like to put the plus if it's positive. Now these 2 diagonals is where I use these 2 numbers, this 3 and 6. And I need to put a W after those because these are the same as 9W. 6W plus 3W is the same as 9W. So this is my problem. I just haven't combined those like terms yet. Now I need to find the outside. So I know I have to find 2 terms that when I multiply them I get 9W squared. So I know I'm going to need a W to the first power and a W to the first power. So that's going to get me my W to the second. Now here, there's different numbers that multiply to give me 9, right? 1 times 9 gets me 9, or 3 times 3 gets me 9. So I got to figure out which one do I want to use. Well, I want you to look across this column right here. If you were looking for a common factor between 3 and 9, you would say, oh, 3 divides into 3 and 3 divides into 9. So the way to figure out whether I'm going to use 3 times 3 or 1 times 9 is notice I have a common factor of a 3 right here. So then I know this has to be a 3. 3 times 3 is 9. W times W is W squared. So this 3 is a common factor across this column. Okay, now let's figure out what's going to go here. So when I multiply it by 3W, I get 3W. Well, that's just 1. A number or an expression times 1 will be itself. 3W times 1 is 3W. Okay, now I have to figure out what goes here, and then I'm done. 3 times what will get me 6? Well, that would be 2. 3W times 2 would get me 6W. So this works. Now, if I did it right, 2 times 1 equals 2. Yep, then I know I did it right. So these are my 2 binomials. I'm going to write them here. And I'm going to write them as binomials. This is a positive 2, so I'm going to put a plus there. So it's the exact opposite of what we did in section 7.2. In section 7.2, we gave you these. You put them outside, you multiply them, and you multiplied them and got this. And then you combined like terms and your answer looked like this. We just went in reverse. We started with this and we found our factors. So I'll put them up here too because we gave you this 3W plus 1, 3W plus 2. That's kind of small, so I wrote them bigger there. So that is my factored form of this. So this is, actually I'm going to write that this is equivalent to 9W squared plus 9W plus 2. They are the same, they're just written in 2 forms. It's like saying 12 is the same as 3 times 4. This is equal to 12. This is just written in a different form. If you multiplied these 2 binomials together, you would get this. They are equal, they're just written in a different form. What you're going to do next is this your turn.